We're gonna dress up in my wedding dress.
And why do you have a wedding dress?
Because I want to get married someday.
Marriage may be in the distant future for 6-year-old Bindi Falcomer, but nevertheless, she'll have a lot to tell her future husband. Her young life has been filled with many doctor visits.
She had an enormous right-sided tumor involving almost 3/4 of the right side of her head. It's called a juvenile pilocytic astrocytoma, or JPA, and that's the most benign tumor of the brain that you can have. We took her to surgery, and I tried to get as much of the tumor out as I could.
Bindi underwent chemotherapy for a year to treat the remaining tumor that could not be removed surgically.
So the goal of this chemotherapy is to stop further tumor cells from growing, to shrink it. We hope that it will do enough that the tumor might not grow back.
So we monitor with MRI scans every several months. Her tumor remained stable in size for another several months, and then it grew very slightly, but I think clearly was getting larger.
Melissa and Gantz found out this news after a routine MRI, news they were not expecting.
We're sitting there talking and we were totally, caught off guard.
We talked about a variety of different options, and the one that we really settled on, which was the one that I think everybody on our team agreed was the best way to go, was more surgery.
I kind of knew in my mind that that's going to be the only cure, I mean, I know that if it's still there, it's still liable to grow.
This past August, Bindi, now 5 years old, underwent her second brain surgery.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. She obviously doesn't know what's going on, so if you try and keep a smile on, then everything's fine, but you just go into the bathroom or something and cry a little bit and then come back out.
I waited in the waiting room and I don't think I moved, but maybe once or twice the entire time. And I just sat there and hoped and prayed to this universe that she was going to be fine. And I remember him coming out in the waiting room and saying that she was fine and she made it through.
I was able to safely remove virtually all of the tumor. I was hoping that I had gotten out every last bit of the tumor at the time of surgery. And her MRI scan showed that I'd gotten virtually all of the tumor out, little tiny area right where I thought I had been, right near those motor fibers, that was still left.
So at that point, I was happy, but again, I knew that it was still there and that it's going to grow if we don't get it out.
And initially, I said, well, let's wait 3 months. Let's see how things go. This could be post-operative, just changes from the surgery itself. And so we waited 3 months, and at 3 months it became pretty clear that there was a small nubbin of tumor, maybe the size of 2 or 3 peas at this point.
So then they said the gamma knife would be the next best way to go, and that should take care of it.
With the gamma knife, we use a variety of beams of radiation that individually are not powerful enough to hurt anything, but they come together at the middle. And so whatever you put there, you can injure, in this case the tumor.
The goal is to kill the tumor, to kill every cell in the tumor. And we're trying to do it in as safe a way as possible.
So Bindi was scheduled for the gamma knife procedure this past January.
She came in early in the morning. She had anesthesia, so from her standpoint, she went to sleep.
In her case, we put a frame on her head, and that rigidly fixes to her head, and what that means really is that we have some pins that fit into the skull and make sure that that frame doesn't move.
We basically got imaging, made a plan off of that set of imaging to figure out where the radiation should be directed.
These little dots are how we identify where the frame is, and then this little white area here is the little residual part of the tumor that we were going to treat. And then with her still asleep, we bring her into the gamma knife unit and position her on a table. Once she's positioned on the table and the rest of the unit actually takes over basically. It goes to the target sites that we've chosen.
Yeah, that was nothing. We only were there for a couple hours, They put her to sleep, they did their thing, and we were out.
You can't tell she ever had it. She was fine. The moment she was done, she was asking to go to Infinitos, and
she's a champ. I mean, she is a tough little girl, and she's been through bigger things before. And so this for her was actually a walk in the park.
I've found that children have this immense just strength to them where irregardless of what's going on, they just have this desire to just want to be kids and play and just do what kids do.
How do you feel?
Grateful.
Bindi is grateful, and she is happy. She's a sweet little girl who gives hope and inspiration to others, especially her mom and dad.
just gotta stay positive no matter what happens in life, you know? Just gotta keep going, and you know, I always say everything happens for a reason. Lord, I don't know what this reason is, but it has definitely made us stronger of a family and more grateful every day to have each other and just not take anything for granted at all.
Well, she's doing great. I mean, if you look at her, you can't even tell that there's anything wrong with her, or that there was ever anything wrong with her.
I'm very happy because I love that girl very much. My first baby, and she's an awesome kid. We're gonna make it through together.